things in the NFC went a little crazy when the season ended. Players retired, coaches left, some drama going on with a few players. We have no idea what's going to happen with these teams during the offseason. But we can speculate. So, why don't we jump right in with the Dallas Cowboys. Alright, so the Cowboys went back to the playoffs, but you felt like this team underachieved. Dak Prescott came back, he was healthy, he was a really good player throughout the season. They had talent, you just felt like this team didn't reach the full potential that you felt they could have. And now they got a problem. They are over $20 million over the cap, and they're picking 24th overall in the draft. They got to get that cap number down. Another problem is Dalton Schultz is a free agent. He was their top tight end last year. So they're probably going to have to figure out what they're going to do with him. If they can't re-sign him, tight end's definitely going to be a big need in the offseason. Also, linebacker. Leighton Vander Esch just cannot stay healthy. Yeah, Micah Parsons is there, but he needs some help, and Jalen Smith is no longer with the team. Also, take a look at the safety position. That position could use an upgrade. Okay, so the Giants are sticking with Daniel Jones, but you got to get him some help. Get him an offensive line. Get him some wide receivers. They're picking 5th and 7th in the draft. They should be able to get some decent players there. Jabril Peppers is their top free agent. Since they got him from a trade with Cleveland, he's been a really, really good player in the secondary for them. But there's one problem. They're $12 million over the cap. They've got to get that cap number down. And one more thing they could use some help at the linebacker position. You're going to hear a lot of this from me in this video. Another team that needs help at the linebacker position is the Philadelphia Eagles. They have ignored that for so long. They cannot ignore it anymore. The good news for the Eagles is they're actually under the cap, $18 million. They can make some moves there. Ronnie McLeod is their top guy. It was between him and their other starting free safety, Will McLeod. And they have three first-round picks, 15th, 16th, and 19th. Now, if they want to take a quarterback, they're in good position to do that. If they want to stick with Jalen Hurts, definitely look for them to use at least 2 of those, well, at most 2 of those, and then look for them to trade at least 1 of those picks and get some extra ones. 3 first-round picks, they're in a good spot. Other positions to look at, definitely look at center, need to get somebody younger there. And at the safety position I just mentioned, both their starting safeties are free agents, so they got to figure out what they're going to do at that position. Alright, I'm just going to come out and say Washington's new name is absolutely stupid. I mean, Commanders, you couldn't come up with a better name? Really? Oh man. Anyway, moving on to what they're probably going to do. Definitely look at them to take a quarterback with that 11th overall pick. They need a quarterback, and I think that's where the first quarterback's going to come off the board. 11th overall. And with them, Brandon Sheriff is their top guy. Brandon Sheriff, since they drafted him in the first round, has been a top-notch guard in the league. At one point, I thought he was considered the best guard in the league. And the good news for them is they have $35 million in cap space. So if they want to sign him to a long-term deal, they can. What else do they need? Definitely going to need some offensive line help. They want to draft a rookie quarterback. You got to get an offensive line to protect him. And get some help in the secondary. You need it. So Chicago does not have a first-round pick in this draft. They traded that to the Giants when they traded up for Justin Fields. Well, if they want him to be their quarterback of the future, they got to give him an offensive line, and they got to give him some receivers. Allen Robinson is a free agent. Are they going to be able to re-sign him? They have $25 million in cap space. Maybe they can, but if they can't, they can make some moves there and definitely get the offensive line. You cannot have Fields running for his life. That's just going to hurt him a whole lot. And also, they need secondary help. With cornerback, they need some help back there. Okay, the thing with Detroit is I have no idea if they're going to replace Jared Goff this offseason or not. I don't know what they're thinking about with their quarterback position, so I'm just going to put that on the back burner for now. They're picking 2nd overall. They're definitely not taking a quarterback there, but with the 32nd overall pick, they might take a quarterback there. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm not going to speculate because I just can't. I don't have enough information. But what they could do to help out Jared Goff or a rookie quarterback or whatever they do there, get a wide receiver. Get a wide receiver. You need help. You lost Kenny Galladay last offseason. Yeah, you have St. Brown there, but who else is going to be there to get the defense's attention? You can't just have St. Brown. Also, they need help on the defensive line. Trey Flowers just has not worked out since they signed him. Definitely get some help there. Linebacker, definitely need help there as well. Top guy, probably Tracy Walker. Tracy Walker has been a solid player for them. We'll see if they re-sign him. They have $19 million in cap space, so they could I don't know what they're going to do. Really, with Detroit, this is a critical offseason. They have got to start building this team. Oh, Green Bay, Green Bay, Green Bay. With the drama, with Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this. If they do trade Aaron Rodgers or they're somehow able to get him to stay, I do not know what's going to happen there. But the good news for them is they've been able to get their cap number down. The problem is they're still $31 million over the cap, and that's with all the restructures that they've been doing. So they got to figure out how they're going to get their cap number down even more. And with their top guy being Davante Adams, I mean, that's pretty big. Davante Adams is one of the best receivers in the league. If they can't re-sign him, that's a big hole to fill. With that 28th overall pick, they might be looking to trade up in the draft if there's a guy they really like. So definitely expect some teams that are picking in the 20 to trade up. There's a guy they really like. As far as their needs go, they need an inside linebacker. They've got to address that position. If Davante Adams leaves, they're definitely going to need a wide receiver. There's no question on it. They're definitely going to need receiver help if Davante Adams leaves. And I would also look at the tight end position. Robert Tonyan got hurt last year. Not really a whole lot behind him. I would definitely look at tight end this year. The Vikings are another team that's over the cap. They're over the cap by $16 million. And that's not a position to be in when you're a team that missed the playoffs last year. It was kind of crazy how Minnesota missed the playoffs because you thought this team was talented enough to get the playoffs, but they just weren't. Somehow they just could not make it. And that's what got them the 12th overall pick in the draft. With their top guy, it's Anthony Barr. I don't know what they're going to do with Anthony Barr. He's been solid, not spectacular, and he may be on the decline, so we'll see what they do with Anthony Barr in free agency. As far as their needs goes, I would look at tight end. I know. Irv Smith got hurt last year, but you don't know if he's going to be back to what the Vikings thought he was going to be at. Defensive end I would definitely look at, and I would definitely look at corner as well. The Vikings, if they want to get back to the playoffs, they got to make some tough moves. Atlanta needs to accept that they are no longer a contender and needs to start rebuilding the team. When are they going to do that? I haven't the foggiest idea, but they're no longer a contender. Right now they're $7 million over the cap. They're picking 8th overall, and Matt Ryan is entering his late 30s. This team is going to be on a rebuild soon that they shouldn't be rebuilding now. And for what they need, wide receivers definitely in need. Calvin Ridley, no idea if he's ever going to be back in the league. If he is, he's probably not coming back to Atlanta. Defensive line, get that shored up. And back in the secondary, the safety position needs a look at. And with Cordell Patterson, their top free agent, Cordell Patterson, since he came into the league, he's been a terrific athlete in this league. He's been absolutely amazing, been a great returner, been a great playmaker on the offense, and I mean playmaker. This guy lines up a receiver, running back, anywhere on the offense. So this guy is going to be wanted in the league. He's still a playmaker in this game. Carolina's in a unique position. They traded for Sam Darnold last year. However, not really sure if that's a long-term look. He's most likely not their long-term answer at quarterback. But with them having the 6th overall pick, I don't know what they're going to do if they want to go for a quarterback. That's really the question. I don't know what they're going to do. $12 million in cap space, not a whole lot they can do there. Of course, they could always free up cap space, and that's probably what they're going to do. But they got to figure out what they're going to do with Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick and Brian Burns made a nice duo. I think they would like to have him back, especially since he's a double-digit sack guy from last year. This is another team that definitely needs to look at the linebacker position. I would definitely look at offensive line. Christian McCaffrey's still your running back, and if you do decide to go with a young quarterback, you're definitely going to need an offensive line to protect him. And in the receiving core, they have a nice group of wide receivers, but they need help at the tight end position. Ian Thomas just got an extension, but he's more of a blocking tight end than a receiving tight end. Definitely get a receiving tight end if you're the Carolina Panthers. They're always nice to have. No team is in salary cap hell more than the New Orleans Saints, but no team gets out of salary cap hell more often than the New Orleans Saints. This team is always over the cap, and they always find a way to get under it. Right now, they're $45 million over the cap. It's going to be interesting to see how they get under that cap. The biggest problem right now is that Sean Payton is no longer the head coach there. They went with Dennis Allen to be their next head coach. I don't know how that's going to go, how that transition is going to go. We will see. Right now, they're picking 18th overall, and their left tackle, Teron Armstead's a free agent. Now, Teron Armstead, he has had some injuries over the years, but he's still a really solid left tackle in this league. And with the quarterback position, I would definitely look at improving that position, because Jameis Winston's coming off of injury, and the other three guys that started games, they're not long-term solutions. Also take a look at the wide receiver position. I mean, Michael Thomas, yeah, they restructured his contract, but is he really somebody you should rely on? Probably not. And linebacker position, yeah, I would definitely look at that. I told you a lot of these teams need help at the linebacker position, and the Saints are another one that needs help there. Another team I would say needs a quarterback is Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady has officially called it a career, and while Tampa Bay would like to have him back and are trying to get him back, it's not going to happen. Brady's not coming back. He's done. He's done. And while they drafted Kyle Trask in the second round, I'm not too big on second-round quarterbacks. Not too many of them have made it in this league. There's not too many quarterbacks that have lasted a long time as a starter in this league. It just doesn't happen that often. And I would also take a look at the defensive line position, and I would definitely look at the tight end position. You have a bunch of guys there that are free agents. Definitely look to get some players there. Now the problem is they have $2 million in cap space. That's not a whole lot. And Ryan Jensen, their starting center, is a free agent, and he's one of the best centers in the league, so they would like to have him back. And also, they're picking 27th overall in the draft. So Tampa Bay, they have a lot of work that needs to get done. This team is going to look a whole lot different than what it did last year. Cardinals are in a unique position. This was a team that made the playoffs last year, but for the longest time, they were the best team in the NFL, and then they just fell off a cliff towards the end of the season. And now you have to wonder, is Kingsbury really the guy to lead them at head coach? This is a critical year for the Cardinals. Now, they are just over $1 million over the cap, so they can get under the cap pretty easily. Now, Chandler Jones is their top free agent, but I don't think he's going to want to come back to the Cardinals. I don't. And the whole situation with Kyler Murray, it's just absolutely insane. Hopefully that fixes itself out, but it doesn't get any better than when his agent tweeted out that long essay that was a pain to read. I don't know what they were thinking doing that. And they have the 23rd overall pick in the draft, and this is another team that may just look to trade up if they have the ability to. Also take a look at a running back. I would definitely get a running back because James Conner's a free agent, and you really do want to have a running game to go along with a young quarterback. Also, I would take a look at tight end. They have some good receivers. I would get a complimentary tight end. And on the defensive line, if Chandler Jones does not come back, which it does look like he's not going to come back, definitely want to get some help there. The Rams gamble paid off. That was a big gamble, that trade for Matthew Stafford. That was absolutely insane. But it worked out. They won the Super Bowl. They got a Super Bowl out of that. Now the question is, are they going to be able to repeat? And that's going to be the big question going into this offseason. Now, Odell Beckham Jr., he's a free agent. I would say that's their top guy. But it's not just him that's a free agent. They have other guys that they are going to want to have come back. But the problem is they're over the cap. They are way over the cap. They got to figure out how to get that cap number down. Now, I would look for a left tackle because Andrew Whitworth, he's probably going to call it a career. He hasn't officially called it, but most likely he's going to call it. He's been in the league for a long time. Finally get that Super Bowl ring. I would definitely look at him to call it a career. This is another team. Take a look at the linebacker position, particularly inside linebacker. Definitely want to get that situated. And then at nose tackle, their nose tackle is a free agent, and I would definitely look to get somebody there. San Francisco, they're another team that is over the cap. They're over the cap by $4 million, so they have to figure out some restructures. Jakaris Tard is their top guy. Sorry, I butchered the name, I know. But he was a solid player for them in the secondary last year, and they're another team that does not have a first-round pick. Like the Rams, they don't have a first-round pick at all. They traded that to the Dolphins last year. Now for them, I would get some depth on the defensive line. They need some depth to go along with Armstead and Nick Bosa. Definitely get some help there. Now as for their needs, defensive line is one I would take a look at. Need to get some depth there to go along with Armstead and Bosa. Definitely look at running back. They went with a running back by committee last year. I think getting a young guy there to help out would do him some good. And I mentioned the cornerback position. That needs to be addressed as well. They have a lot of guys there that are going to be free agents. Now, Seattle's the third team in the NFC West that does not have a first-round pick, but they're the only team in the division that is actually under the cap. They're under the cap by $34 million. So they have enough money to make some moves. But the first things first, they got to figure out what they're going to do with Dwayne Brown. Dwayne Brown, they traded for him a while ago, and he's been a very, very good left tackle in this league. We'll see what they do with him, but this team was very disappointing last year. It was Pete Carroll's worst year in Seattle. We'll see what they do during the offseason. Now, with Brown being a free agent, that just increases the need for an offensive lineman. They need some offensive line help, and definitely get some help in the secondary. They have not replaced the Legion of Boom since all those guys left. I mean, that secondary just isn't where a Seattle defense should be at. Alright guys, that was the NFC preview. Now I got the Combine coming up in a few days. Definitely going to talk about the top quarterbacks in this draft. I'll definitely have some mock drafts coming out. You're going to have some content coming out in the next few months. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.